Karthik Subbaraj and his journey is truly inspirational. From a short filmmaker in 2011 to directing films with Rajnikant and now creating a big scale Indian film with Dhanush that releases in 190 countries and is dubbed in 17 languages. It really is what creators dream of doing. A man who is considered to be an essential part of Tamil New Wave cinema, having a unique texture to his films which are eclectic, especially having a lot of influence from renowned international filmmakers. From the jaw-dropping treatment of romance and horror in his first feature film Pizza, the riveting and memorable sequences in Jigarthanda and Iraivi, the man is popular and celebrated as a creator for a reason. For all of you who know Subbaraj and his films, you know he is considered to be India's answer to Tarantino, and that is clearly in full swing as I got excited to see Jagame Thandaram on Netflix. The film focuses on a nomadic gangster that finds himself caught between two conflicting gangs in London, one led by a Tamil immigrant and the other by a proud white British bigot. And in this process, the film tries to showcase the individual struggle of finding home, both physically and metaphorically. Karthik Subbaraj stated that what starts off as a gangster film dealing with the conflict between two factions progresses to shift to London not for its fancy locations, but to identify so many people who don't have the privilege of calling anything their home. I'll speak about this in further detail in my review. There is a lot of hesitance when it comes to me as a creator as I speak about a film and a director duo that has such a loyal and vocal fan base, but it becomes my due diligence to be unabashedly truthful despite the outcome and vitriol I will receive. So here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Jagame Thandaram on Netflix or not. Ignorance, geography and identity. There is an assumption, especially in majority of India, that Tamil people only hail from Tamil Nadu in India. The film breaks this ignorant notion by showcasing the stories of Tamil migrants that had to find their identity and restart life all over again in various parts all over the globe. This represents individuals from Sri Lanka who saw immense tragedy during the civil war and fled to various nations, hoping, praying and seeking that governments can acknowledge their existence and call some place home all over again. These groups of people are survivors and persist despite the traumatic circumstances. This film successfully brings in the forefront the age-old debate around countries' stance over refugees and their identity. Countries that stand with immigrants and showcase empathy of their horrifying past, or that are stringent with their borders and fear for a loss of their own legacy due to the entry of what they term as outsiders. The fact that this film is dubbed in so many languages and is available in 190 countries actually will allow viewers to be educated on a matter that they may have only heard in passing. Foreign actors and the role of women. I don't know what it is about Indian films that are shot in foreign locations, but other than James Cosmo, it almost seems as if the extras have been forced to be in front of camera. Most of the foreign actors put forth such stiff performances that it actually comes across as many of the forgettable roles of people from a different nationality we have seen in Indian films. While being set in London and Peter taking pride in being a true Englishman and having a pure legacy, I wondered why some of his henchmen have American accents, because if that is an attempt at a British accent, it terribly failed. There are many moments where some of the actors have to emote, as in be shocked at certain circumstances, where it just comes across as a stuntman being told to do what he's never done, which is act. I also had a huge problem with the way they integrated the love story in this film. I don't know why creators feel it is necessary to have a romantic angle in order to bring about change of vulnerability in an anti-hero. The romantic equation is very abruptly developed in this film, and it actually leads to a drastic tonal shift of the movie, which was its biggest downfall, where I was actually wondering about loyalties and who may backstab one another in its first half. This development of romance in the second half actually made the film and its conclusion very predictable, technically exceptional. While Jagame Thandaram has many problems, especially in its second half, which I will come to later, credit where credit is due, man. This film is technically outstanding. The music composed by Santosh Narayanan complements this film so well. Rakata Rakata is a tune that I definitely think would have become a banger, just like Vati Coming, had they released the way they had picturized the song rather than a lyric video that I almost think dampens the impact of such an entertaining tune. Especially the long shot of Dhanush we saw in the teaser of the movie. It really captures the essence of the song. The background score to complement several action sequences, especially one as Suruli runs in a corridor with a makeshift bomb, having this chest-thumping trance/psychedelic vibe really enhances scenes which may come across as pretty straightforward. The song that describes Sivadas's attitude and the way his gang functions also was such an innovative take, which solidifies the fact that if music is integrated well into the storyline, it really sticks with you. I fell in love with the editing of this film as well by Vivek Harshan. Primary characters are introduced like avatars from a 1v1 fighting game. A fast-paced sequence reminiscent of Guy Ritchie will change its frames at a rapid rate, while showcasing characters from all over the world. The cinematography and color grading by Shreyas Krishna and Suresh Ravi respectively also stand out. There are many sequences that are technically exceptional, be it the long-running shot in a restaurant before chaos ensues, the low ceiling and yellow light frame as Joju George and Dhanush hash it out, or my favorite, the 360-degree on-loop shot that is simply a masterclass. Where the film in technical aspects shines, it is in how it progresses in the second half that it sadly becomes just an above average gangster film. The writing. One of the main reasons why the film eventually becomes a one-time watch or an above average gangster film is because it resorts to the tropes that we have already seen. Whenever there is a character from a film whose moral compass is questioned, you often know the direction in which the story is headed. The family drama, the romantic storyline, and the impact that it has on a character like Surali already takes us in a direction that we can see from miles away. The second half has this abrupt tonal shift, which is educational for many, no doubt about that. It brings in the forefront an issue many people don't know about, but its impact on the protagonist is so fast, just through a dramatic speech, that it takes away the momentum of why we were loving the ruthless attitude of a man in the first place. The use of flashbacks and visions of trauma are easy cinematic tropes utilized just to make Surali a man with a conscience, but we liked his presence for other reasons, no matter how morally incorrect they were. Pop culture references and the three pillars. What you must remember when you go for a Karthik Subbaraj film is that there are going to be many references in the movie that are either specific to Tamil cinema and its creators or takes inspiration from the same wheelhouse as Quentin Tarantino films. An article by Gautam Narayan on Box Space brilliantly creates a parallel between Subbaraj and Tarantino. Tarantino films love to integrate humor in the most suspenseful moments. Take for example the first sequence of Inglourious Bastards that transitions from comedy to increasing everyone's anxiety. Jagame Thandiram has several moments exactly like this. Merciless killings take place in the film while characters are debating about the difference between two raunchy terms. There is a constant use of vintage music in Tarantino films, and in Jagame Thandiram you will see several references of popular Tamil music from its history that will come in snippets and add its own charm. There are also references to old Tamil movies like Nayakan and Amedi Padai that if you've done your homework regarding Tamil films, it just hits different. So keep in mind when you're watching a Subbaraj film, every element of the song playing or a dialogue flippantly delivered has a reference. It's just what you can expect from a filmmaker who is passionate about his stories. Now moving forward, I just have to say that the cast, despite where this film eventually goes, have done a brilliant job. I feared that James Cosmo's role would become a train wreck like the one we saw of Michael Madsen in Nishabdam. But thankfully, because of the legend and his capability and the way Subbaraj has captured him, he comes across as the least caricaturist version of all the Britishers we see on camera. He is nasty, unapologetic, a racist, and bloody good at portraying that. His absolute disgust for immigrants is clear, and his aura that doesn't have time for BS really does work well for the landscape of this movie. Dhanush is brilliant. However, it is the writing specifically pertaining to Surali's character that leads to his downfall. The man is a vessel ideal for any director as he gives it his all, and he is bloody good when he is that unhinged ruthless killer in the first half of the film. But the abrupt transition of this film to make him suddenly this sympathetic loving man who repents for his sins, all because of the presence of romance, really takes away from what initially invested us. Some badass gang war in London, that's what initially kept us hooked. Joju George, I have to say, is truly exceptional in this film. Probably the best part of the movie. He commands such an intimidating presence with his baritone voice and casual body language. His style and aura in front of camera definitely becomes one of my favorite aspects of this movie. Let things be badass. This movie made me realize that Subbaraj, in the process of trying to provide a commentary on a socio-political issue, actually found himself being neither here nor there, as Jagame Thandiram concluded. You as a viewer were fully invested in the journey from Madurai to London, but the tonal shift in the second half for a character like Surali actually takes away from its best parts. I know I constantly reference his films, but Guy Ritchie movies like Gentleman, Snatch, or even a Joe Carnahan film like Smokin' Aces are celebrated because they are unapologetically themselves. They do not feel compelled to make a hero of their problematic characters. The eccentric personalities stand out, and the comedic elements and the gore that follows creates this synergy which is so entertaining to watch. And this was my experience in the first half of Jagame Thandiram. But sadly, I think the film's downfall was the path it took in its second half that derails it and makes it an above average thriller that is only a one time watch. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.